Duron will be secure on the knockout, and we're going to put it all on Mismagius to sweep the back line. Mismagius gets a very nice Psywave farm down. Out comes a load of Ninetales, but Ninetales going to be straight in and straight out. Welcome back to the channel. Season 20 has been, well, shall we say chaotic, as the meta and the move update has people, including myself, in shambles. Credit where credit's due. I think Niantic have done a fantastic job. They've buffed a lot of quick moves, stuff like rollout, astonish and mud slap, which are available on a wide variety of mon, have had huge buffs and made these Pokemon with access to it very meta relevant. Another quick move that has received an absolutely enormous buff is Psywave. Unfortunately, Psywave has not been rolled out to too many Pokemon. You can see on the screen, you do not have many to choose from. Malamar is all the rage right now, due to the fact Psywave is a one-turn clone of the move Shadow Claw. As you're scrolling down that list, you're probably thinking, outside of Malamar, what else can I use? Well, I personally have a Shadow Mismagius built. I built with a Callum on Toast Battle of Spice YouTuber edition a few seasons ago, and you can ask my Discord. Hand on heart, that thing was the worst Pokemon I've ever used. The main issue with it was its quick move of Hex. Hex on a really glassy Pokemon just doesn't work. It applies very little fast move pressure, and you pair that with something that can't tank a hit to save its life, it's just a horrible experience all around. So does Psywave make this Pokemon any good? Well, there's only one way to find out. We headed to battle, so without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see a dreadful lead. I'm running an ABB team. I'm going to be using Clefable in the lead to beat any dark types we might see. Save switching Sableye, hoping to bait out said dark type, like we have in battle number 1, allowing Mismagius the best opportunity to sweep the back line. You can see we land the first power gem. The opponent then plays the CMP tie. They do not win. Shout out Home Size Henry for that quote. And Shadow Sableye manages to force us shield advantage. I think Clefable's an alright lead to cover this back line. Azumarill would be objectively better, but I'd rather put pins in my eyes than use that bulky blue annoying mouse. So we're going to run with Clefable as I recently built it. I'm going to send out Clefable. We're going to look for that full Fairy Wind farm down and leave a whole heap of energy. We're going to bank that energy, pivot into Mismagius. The opponent stays in, bank some energy, and speaking of the annoying blue mouse, there it is. Azumarill might think it's thick, but trainer, are you thick enough? Shadow Ball rocks Azumarill down to around a third health. My god, Mismagius putting in work. We're going to shield up the Ice Beam, attempt to commit to the Psywave farm down. Can we get it? It's going to be close. Last second I chicken out, throw the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse will be secure in the knockout. I am going to invest the final Protect Shield here. Despite us not being a Psychic type, these Psywaves are chunking. We shield at the Stone Edge, return fire with the Shadow Ball, which should force the final shield, which it does, and all that banked energy on Clefable is going to come in clutch. We're going to spam out Swift after Swift. When I first used Clefable, like yesterday, I was quite underwhelmed with it, because Swift is a pretty good move if you're a normal type with a pretty high attack stat. Shout out Ursaring. But Clefable doesn't really hit hard enough. But despite that flaw, we're going to be able to spam out enough Swifts to take this game, despite hard losing lead. GG's, and thanks for playing. That was quite literally the first battle I played with the team, and I thought, Mismagius looking alright, you know. In the next battle, we see Dunsparce in the lead. The opponent pivots into Toxapex, and if you're wondering why I come Sableye, because Sableye can tank a few hits, unlike Mismagius. You also saw in battle number 1 its absurd damage output, so I like it in the closer position. We're going to utilise Sableye on the safe switch or counter swap as much as I physically can. The Sableye I'm using in battle today is a 0-15-15 Sableye, so I didn't throw the foul play there as I know it will not knock out. I've used this Pokemon a lot, so instead I over farm, looking to keep as much energy as I physically can. The opponent tries their luck at catching the next foul play. Onto Dunsparce, I'm going to bank my energy and send out Clefable. Swift really wouldn't do too much in this matchup, so I'm going to full send the Moonblast, which of course gets shielded. I think if you're a player who likes to bait a lot, Clefable might suit your playstyle. I personally like to YOLO nukes, and I'm always quite pissed off how it performs. But we are going to be able to land one further Moonblast. Moonblast does do a lot from Clefable with same type attack bonus, certainly putting in a range where I'm going to attempt to Psywave farm down and hope we can nuke whatever's in the back. Drill Run secures the knockout. We send out Mismagius. Mismagius does get that Psywave farm down. If the opponent sends out Toxapex, I'm going to over farm. They send out Ninetales, but Ninetales is going to be straight in and straight out. Mismagius, an absolute lethal closer. Back out comes Toxapex. I did say in the intro, Mismagius cannot tank a hit to save its life. However, brine really isn't it. We tank that Psywave farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see Ariados in the lead. Apparently fairy leads aren't very good so far. We're going to utilise the Sableye safe switch. The opponent fires off the Trailblaze. They then attempt to catch onto Jumpluff. However, if they would have caught a Power Gem, I wouldn't have been complaining. We're going to fire off the Power Gem regardless. Power Gem lands for big damage. Once again, Sableye able to win the charge attack priority, and it should force a shield advantage in the mid-game. I think Sableye this season is an absolute monster. You can see it's forcing shields in the mid-game. I'm actually always happy to lose switch and take something like an energy advantage with Clefable, like you're going to see in this battle, because of course Ariados, a dreadful matchup. However, we leave with a lot of energy, we can threaten it. I overfarm before firing off the Swift. Swift, of course, from this range, despite being pretty underwhelming, does secure the knockout. We bank a Swift for the road, send out Mismagius, and out comes Talonflame. Yeah, this doesn't look great because Talonflame is applying so much fast move pressure. Just 5 Incinerates have almost knocked me out, but the opponent gives me a very easy win con. They've banked 100 energy, sacked their Spider, which would have been a problem, and now they've just gifted me the win. Because of course, I'm just going to shield everything, fire off double Swift. So what the opponent should have done there is actually banked on Talonflame, perhaps through a charge move, did something other than sacrifice the Spider. But I'm not going to complain. When you're running some spice, you take all the wins you can get. We're just going to shield up the next flame charge. We don't even need to throw the Swift because the Fairy Wind will knock them out and we are going to emerge victorious. I honestly thought that battle would be curtains for me. But sometimes you just got to stick it out and see if the opponent makes a mistake. In the next battle, once again, Clefable not picking up a great lead. So we're going to utilise Sableye. Clodsire fires off the Stone Edge before sending out Dunsparce. I think that was a smart chip and dip from the opponent, as we literally aren't going to be able to force a shield or do anything particularly great in this mid-game. You can see the damage from a foul play there, so I think it would be a really poor shield if I shielded that next move, because the opponent wouldn't need to shield my foul play and my Shadow Claws are double resisted, so I go down a shield and still lose switch. So instead, again, we're going to send out Clefable, look to overfarm before removing them from the field of play with the Moonblast. In this situation, Mismagius needs to be good against both the lead and the back mon, and that is a tall task. We send out Mismagius, out comes Gator, and unfortunately we're going to fall victim of RPS for the loss. We might only be around 3 days into the season, but you can already see that the most common core in this meta is Gator Clodsire. There are a few cool core breakers, stuff like Oranguru. Check out Henry's video on that. I am going to concede the match and move on to the next battle. Speaking of Oranguru, I've talked that one into existence. This thing is somewhat of a core breaker, to be honest, as Sableye would be able to hit the super effective with the foul plays, but our Shadow Claws would be single resisted. We land the Moonblast, make the pivot into Sableye regardless, checking if they've got a Dark type, and I'm grateful I did, as out comes Mandibuzz. This is one of the matchups that Sableye is greatly improved into. The cheaper Power Gem that hits harder is so nice. You're now able to cleanly two-shot this annoying Vulture, and once again we should obtain ourselves a shield advantage, which we do. This again is going to set up Clefable, an opportunity to come in, overfarm, get some energy together and look to knock out that monkey. As of course, I said it was a core breaker because Mismagius is going to be dreadful into it. Non-stab Psywaves will be resisted and we do not resist confusion. We've already seen Mismagius does not like fast move pressure whatsoever. Back out comes Clefable. I do overfarm, fire off the Swift, which isn't lethal, giving me one extra Fairy Wind. Back out comes the Orangutan. I am going to be forced to burn a shield here as we just literally cannot fast move them down. I'm going to fire off the Swift. Hopefully this goes unshielded. However, the opponent actually invests their final Protect shield. At this point, we're going to need to save a shield for the Glassy Ghost type and hope we can sweep the back line. I send out Mismagius. I am so grateful. The opponent instantly pivoted out without looking what come in. The opponent sends out Machamp. Machamp getting eaten alive by the Psywaves. The opponent actually has payback, a very cool moveset, but we had a shield to hide behind, and we're going to BM that monkey with the single resisted Shadow Ball, because why fucking not? GG's! In the next battle, we see public enemy number 1 Bastiodon on the lead. We utilise a Sableye safe switch. The opponent wasn't lagging, they're probably scratching their head thinking, what the hell do I do? As clearly they don't have a response. So I understand this is the early ranks. So of course we're going to see players of all different abilities. So what this opponent should have done, if they had no response to Sableye, is staying with Bastiodon, as Bastiodon actually has a positive matchup, whereas Metachan certainly does not. It really is alright just to stay in sometimes. You don't have to go for the classic, they switch, I switch. However, I'm not complaining because I've already forced myself shield advantage, We fire off one further foul play, removing Machamp from the field of play. Back out comes Bastiodon. I try and make the foul play, but unfortunately the Nerf Smackdown still secure the knockout. Of course I'm going to take the option to realign. And this is going to be a great test to see just how hard Mismagius hits, as I think the Shadow Ball is going to do big damage. The opponent then pivots out into the other thing that doesn't want to see Sableye, Trevenant. Hi Trevenant, bye Trevenant, thank you very much for your brief appearance. Just the unshielded, stupid brick wall remains. And we're going to YOLO that stab. Shadow Ball. My gosh, that does big damage. I was hoping Mismagius could close the battle out, but it looks like I'd probably get Smackdown farm down before I reach the Dark Pulse required to win this game. But don't worry, this Bastiodon is so low that Clefable is going to be a wall face counter confirmed. Don't worry, you heard it here first. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Donphan in the lead. Another one of the buffed Mud Slappers. I've actually been sent some Shadow Donphan battles that I will be showcasing in a few days' time. We're going to YOLO the Moonblast, hoping the opponent looks to call the bait finally. That no baiting style comes off clutch, and we pivot into Sableye. We're going to tank the charge move, hoping they went for the body slam, and we do actually get the Shadow Claw farm down. Out comes Gator. We need to start forcing some shields off the opponent, as Mismagius really relies on shields down to perform, so I am going to invest a Protect Shield here, looking just to force one back off my opponent. The additional Shadow Claw damage from Sableye here should also put him into Swift range. That definitely looks like Swift range, especially from Shadow Gator, as it's quite a glassy Pokemon. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout. We should be able to outpace to the Swift as well, and hopefully the opponent just let it go. We send out Clefable. We're going to reach the Swift. To be honest, I don't even mind if they shield, as this will put them into a Psywave farm down range. The opponent does opt to shield. We're putting it all on Mismagius, because that is the featured Pokemon today. Let's go, buddy. Show me what you can do. The opponent pivots out into the silly electric fish, and they're on Water Gun, which is applying huge fast move pressure. Of course, I just need to shield everything at this stage. We're going to farm up to 100 energy before unleashing the Shadow Ball. Lantern might be thick, but is it thick enough? Shadow Ball, near one shots. We get the Psywave farm down, leaving with a charge move to go. And Mismagius is going to come off clutch in that closer position. You love to see it. GG's. In the next battle, we're playing my friend Alpha Club, a member of my Discord who's actually only been playing this game for like 3 seasons. I think this might be his 4th season now. Last season, he was able to get to expert rank, and a lot of that was down to him listening, learning on Discord. So if you'd like to improve your gameplay, you know what to do. The Discord is linked down below. Come and join the madhouse. Alpha Club makes a very nice catch, catching onto Dunsparce and saving that Gator, which is a huge problem for my team. We send out Mismagius because he wants to keep well away from Gator, fire off the Dark Pulse, put him in a range. We're going to attempt to resist it, Shadow Claw farm him down. One of the things we were talking about on Discord was energy management. So Alpha Club farmed up 7 Shadow Claws, trying to throw the Hydro Cannon on CMP to the potential Moonblast. So I know he's going to be free off the next Hydro Cannon as Gator is straight 5 to each move. So with that in mind, I'm going to throw 3 Shadow Claws, look to catch the Hydro Cannon, back onto Clefable. Am I able to pull it off? No, I'm not. Alpha Club, far smarter than that. Well played, buddy. I'm proud of you. We fire off the Swift. Swift goes unshielded, and out comes Drapion. Essentially, something we don't want to see. A normal and dark type versus my 2 Ghost. I fire off the Power Gem, which goes shielded. We are going to fire off 1 further Power Gem. I actually just wanted to see this damage land, as I don't know what it does buffed. It does a lot, but not enough. I still have 2 shields remaining, but this game's over. Of course, we need to start shielding moves from Drapion, and of course the Hydro Cannon would easily knock us out from here. You're going to see it actually on the Giga Chat moveset of Aqua Tail Sludge Bomb, the moveset I used to use on Drapion all the way back in Season 8. GG's, buddy. In the next battle, we see a regular variant of Machamp in the lead. Most people have opted for the Shadow, and I think Shadow is the way to go. If you're going to use a Glass Cannon, you may as well get that Shadow bonus. The opponent say switches into Clodsire, and I'll respond with Sableye. Once again, either Ghost would be fine, but Sableye has a lot more bulk and the ability to tank moves. Again, I was reluctant to throw on CMP, and I didn't think the move would knock out. So if I'm going to shield, I may as well overfarm, maximise my energy, and get the most out of my safe switch. We farm up to the double foul play. The opponent actually opts to shield, which is a mistake, as we are able now to throw back to back. If the opponent shields both, I'm of course I'm going to let it go and look to Psywave farm down. The opponent does opt for that, so you know what time it is. Mismagius, upper Protect Shield. We know it claps Machamp. Can it clap whatever's in the back? Come on, trainer, show me something we can clap. Or just concede the match. Regardless, we're going to say Mismagius swept the back line, heading into the final battle. Mandibuzz, you love to see it. The opponent safe switches into Gator, which is a huge problem. So sometimes when you see a problematic Pokemon, I'm going to go for the Chip and Dip. I think a much better play is something I saw Henry do when he showcased Sableye. You can actually fully Shadow Claw farm down a Gator, but I wasn't quick enough on the response, so I opted for the chip and dip. I'd also much rather not be down 2-0 shields. I'm using quite a glassy team, whereas Henry was using like Carbink, I think, in that video, which in my opinion is a nonsense pick. Sorry, buddy. It is what it is, but he obviously can have Pokemon that can tank hits, whereas I haven't really got that ability. We do go down both Protect Shields, but at least the opponent in this scenario only has one to hide behind, which they give up here, which I think is a very questionable shield. Of course, Power Gem does hit for super effective. We've seen it a few times in the video. It does like 50%, but it's going to do objectively less than a Moonblast from Clefable. We send out Clefable. The opponent banks some energy, perhaps trying to make a catch onto Clodsire, and let's see if Mismagius can beat one of the bulkiest mon in the meta in the Zero Shield. The opponent throws the Earthquake. Ouch. That hurt, but we do survive because Clodsire has a pretty non-existent attack stat. The opponent just about survives as well, but we managed to Psywave farm down, and you already know this game is going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. So while we see this opponent play out the inevitable, what did we learn today? Is Mismagius any good? It's greatly improved, and I think it's a phenomenal closer, but its glassiness really does come to bite you in the ass. I think it's very playable. If you like more Metamon than me, I think like Azumarill, Sableye, Mismagius would make sense. Azumarill, of course, objectively bulkier than Clefable, but that's not really my playstyle. So does it have play? Yes. Is it as good as Malamar? Certainly not. But Shadow Sableye, if you haven't got one yet, it's time to invest. This thing's a monster. Clefable is second out in. I'm still quite underwhelmed, but I don't think it's a bad mon. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you'd like your battles featured on my channel, a link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.